We've entered rankings week over here, and it all got started yesterday. Here on the channel, we go through every position and we rank the top 10 players at each spot, along with identifying a few honorable mentions that just missed the cut, and we do this twice per year because as new information and data presents itself, it's always important to take into account and update accordingly. One update comes midway through the season, and the other update comes during the off-season when the season is over, which is the one that we're doing now. Yesterday, we kicked things off with the point guards list, so if you missed that, make sure to go watch it after you watch this one. And now today, we're moving on to the shooting guard position. Before we start though, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel, as all support is very much appreciated. Now with that being said, let's begin. Starting with the honorable mentions that just missed the cut, the players that fall into this category are Klay Thompson, Jordan Poole, Tyrese Maxey, and Tyler Herro. Yes, both Warriors shooting guards fall just shy of the top 10, as Klay came back from his injury this year and gradually started to regain his form while still working through some inconsistencies in the process, and throughout the entire period, Jordan Poole both filled in tremendously for him and provided a huge spark of offense off the team's bench. Tyrese Maxey was another huge breakout performer at the position last season, providing some much-needed efficient offense alongside Joel Embiid on the Sixers. Then Tyler Herro was the winner of the Sixth Man of the Year award this season and scored over 20 points per game in the regular season, but honestly had kind of a rough showing in the playoffs to balance it out a little bit. Starting at number 10 and working our way up to that number 1 spot, we have McCollum of the New Orleans Pelicans. McCollum got traded there midway through last season, and his presence played a massive role in the team progressing through to the playoffs. McCollum has always been a steady and reliable scoring threat that can create for himself at a borderline all-star rate, while also serving as a strong secondary ball handler. Last season, he averaged a career-high 24 points while shooting the ball incredibly efficiently inside and out, and he finally got to step out of the shadow of Damian Lillard to show what he could do in a more primary role. He was a huge addition to the team, and now they're legitimately equipped for a deep run next season. Next up at number 9, we have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander of the Oklahoma City Thunder. SGA is one of the most talented and promising young guards in the NBA right now, but unfortunately he's both struggled with injuries and been forced to deal with the inconsistency of the rebuilding Thunder team around him. He's put up about 24 points per game each of the last 2 seasons, and he shot really well 2 seasons ago, but he also dishes out about 6 assists and grabs 5 rebounds, so he produces well across the board, all while serving as a good, versatile defender as well. He's so smooth with the ball in his hands, and he finishes well around the rim, and honestly, if he played for a better team that played in front of national audiences more often, he would definitely be someone that would get more love from the average NBA fan. Up next at number 8, we have Anthony Edwards of the Minnesota Timberwolves. Edwards was the number 1 pick in the draft a few years ago and is absolutely living up to the hype through 2 seasons. He helped the Timberwolves make their first playoff appearance in 4 years, he took huge strides as both a scorer and a facilitator, and his explosive athleticism is just so fun to watch on a nightly basis. He's a player that we absolutely expect to continue to climb up this list as his career progresses, and has the potential to be in the top 5 in no time if he continues on this trajectory. Next up at number 7, we have Zach Lavine of the Chicago Bulls. Lavine was a player who many questioned as someone who could impact a winning team in the past, but this year, he finally helped the Bulls get over that hump to make the postseason, and he was absolutely a big factor. He's one of the best and most efficient volume scorers in the league at this position, at least in the regular season, but admittedly, his showing in the playoffs left a lot to be desired. You would have liked to see him be more aggressive, as he didn't even attempt 20 or more shots in a single one of their playoff games, and he only got 13 shots up back-to-back in games 2 and 3 against the Bucks. And while he wasn't at full strength at the time, it was still not very ideal. He's in a tier with a lot of players with similar skill sets, but that played a part in them finishing higher on the list. Next up at number 6, we have Bradley Beal of the Washington Wizards. Beal just got rewarded with a massive payday this offseason, signing a supermax contract extension with the team that he was drafted by, but he's also coming off of a fairly down year filled with inefficient shooting and streaky scoring outputs. He doesn't really feel like a supermax caliber guy, but giving him that contract was the only way that the Wizards were going to get him to stay, so I guess it is what it is. He's capable of being one of the best scorers in the NBA, but he also has to show it in a meaningful way that is conducive to winning basketball to actually prove it, and until he does that, he'll comfortably land in the middle of the pack on this list. Up next at number 5, we have Donovan Mitchell of the Utah Jazz. Mitchell has been the driving force of the Utah offense since his arrival as a rookie and is a highly effective volume shooter that has typically shown up in big moments. This postseason, however, was a different story, as he was out there taking a lot of shots, but not necessarily making them at an acceptable, efficient rate, and after losing in the first round, the Jazz team around him seems to be imploding. Mitchell is now on the trade block, and I see a lot of people starting to be way too negative about his game when judging his value on the trade market, because he definitely is a premier scoring talent. He's just going to have to start giving more effort defensively, as he ranked near the bottom of the league as a perimeter defender last season. Next up at number 4, we have Jaylen Brown of the Boston Celtics. Brown is coming off of a great season capped off by his Celtics team making it all the way to the NBA Finals before ultimately being defeated by the Warriors. Still though, he played a big part in the Celtics winning the Eastern Conference, as he, on quite a few occasions, stepped up with some dominating scoring performances, played a big part in the Celtics' top-ranked defense as well, and provided balanced production across the board. He was arguably the Celtics' most consistent player in the playoffs, and he's established himself as one of the best players at the position for it. Up next at number 3, we have Devin Booker of the Phoenix Suns. Booker was a borderline MVP candidate this season, as he had what was easily his best season as a pro to date. He averaged about 27 points, he shot a career high from 3, and he was the #1 option for the team with the best record in the NBA. His season did end on a sour note though, as he shot the ball poorly in Game 7 against the Mavericks when they got eliminated in humiliating fashion, but that doesn't overshadow all of the good that he brought this year. Next up at number 2, we have Paul George of the Los Angeles Clippers. The top 2 guys at this position present the ideal archetype of two-way play that you want your star guard to provide. Paul George struggled a bit with injuries this year, but at his best was still one of the best two-way players in the league, and he'll get to show that again next season when the Clippers are at full strength. He's a dynamic scorer with a silky smooth handle, and he's efficient in how he gets his. And finally, coming in at the #1 spot on this list, we have Jimmy Butler of the Miami Heat. Butler once again showed this year that he's capable of elevating his play on the big stage, as he took his production to another level once the playoffs began. Jimmy is the ultimate competitor that does whatever it takes to win games, and when you score 40 points or more 4 times in a playoff run like he did, you get rewarded for it. He was a shot away from leading his Heat team to the NBA Finals, but even though they came up short, he still reminded everyone how good he truly is. And with that being said, that's all I have for you today. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below how you would rank the shooting guards right now in the NBA. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.